Is this thing on? Are we live yet? I believe we're live. All right, folks. Now I know you guys love my beautiful face and my baldingness, but we got a very special treat for you guys today. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to introduce you to our good friend, Bernie. Bernie, what's up? How you doing, buddy?
Yo, hey Disco, what's up? Good, man.
All right. So before we get into anything, we got a couple icebreaker questions. Are you a filet mignon guy or are you a ribeye guy?
Oh God, neither.
Neither?
I'm gonna pass. I use sirloin for every single steak dish I make.
Jeez Louise. All right. We're off to a horrible start in terms of friendship, but you will redeem yourself. Uh, okay. Now, if you guys don't know, Bernie, he has won the DraftKings play action $300,000 grand prize of 30K. He finished first place. So the reason why we have him on here is he's going to give us an introduction tutorial to the tools he used last year to give him that upper hand and that upper advantage. And what I want to know, simply because I'm shopping for like a tool guide, draft tips, whatever all the draft tools that possibly exist. What I want to know is what makes yours better than everybody else's.
Oh well. First off, being the narcissist I am, yes, I probably think I'm one of the top 50 best ball players in the world, seeing I've won. Most people can't say that. There's been like 75 tournaments ever, and like some people have won multiple times, so I'm putting myself in the top 50. So first, kudos to me. Second,
Props.
so yeah,
Props.
we're gonna talk
Give him
about
his flower. Give the man his flowers.
we're going to talk about the Spike Week tools. We have, I do contribute at Spike Week. We have two tools. One's called Draft IQ, and that's like looking at your exposures, looking at your stacks, your player builds, all that type of stuff. And then we actually have an in draft overlay that you can use when drafting on desktop for drafters that like gives you an extreme advantage on the people that aren't using this overlay. So what makes it the best? It's the best one on the market. It does things that other people dream about.
I'm listening. Show me how it works. I'm
All
listening
right.
because you might need my credit card information after this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, what we're looking at, we're going to draft a $3 mini team tonight. So we're looking at the 32 $3 mini teams I've done tonight. So Disco, is there a player that you're wondering, like, what's my exposure to that player?
Absolutely. Sam Laporta. Are you a Laporta supporter? I see the Michigan, the Detroit hat in the background. If you're not a Laporta supporter, I don't know, man.
Unfortunately, we have 0 Sam Laporta shares through
The
32
stream is
drafts.
over. It's done. All right. All right. He's not a Laporta supporter. We'll get you there. We'll get you there.
Maybe,
right,
maybe we'll get one tonight. Who else?
Jelani Woods.
Oh gosh, that's gonna be all right. So we got our friend Jelani. We took Jelani one time.
All right.
Let's take a moment and dive in. See, what does that team that Jelani was on look like? So I can actually search Woods here. And Robert Woods isn't going to pop up because I don't draft dead people.
Okay.
And he's dead, folks. Pure dust. So I can actually take a look at what I did when I took Jelani. So with Jelani, I had Eckler, Jonathan Taylor. So it looks like I started out with like a dual RB, and then I pounded wide receivers. I can see I stacked him up on that team with Anthony Richardson, which makes sense. We're trying to correlate our teams together, especially in something like the Drafters Mini. I also ended with a Tua stack, which is interesting. If I want to know, hey, who was in my Tua stack, I can click on that. Okay, I stacked Tua with Devin Achane.
Oh, that's cool.
What was my Anthony Richardson stack? Okay, my Anthony Richardson stack was Jonathan Taylor, Jelani Woods, and Alec Pierce on this team.
Do you see my smile right now?
I do.
This is
I
cool.
was in a 2-5-9-4 build.
Okay.
So
You
maybe
went
if
four
I'm
tight
drafting
ends?
on that one I did. It was
Yeah.
probably 17,
I'm
18,
okay with it.
19, 20. That's how
I'm
you
okay
get
with it.
Jelani Woods,
That's how
is
you
when
get to
you
line of
go
woods. Exactly.
pure punt tight end. I just want 4 dudes and I want to just get their perfect spikes.
And that's the
Let's take
benefit of drafting on drafters, right?
absolutely.
You get 20
So
rounds.
let's take a look at one more guy. Throw a name out there, maybe a quarterback.
Okay, a quarterback. Russell Wilson.
Oh, name a different quarterback. That's not going to come up either, I don't think.
Okay, Trevor Lawrence.
I think we're into some different folks. All right, so
Yeah, we
Trevor
might be.
Lawrence. Only two teams with Trevor Lawrence. I could
Okay.
see though that on those 2 Trevor Lawrence teams, I've actually drafted the same dudes on both teams. Chig, Marvin, and Isaiah are on both
Okay.
teams. Both teams were 3-5-9-3s. So I haven't even done a 2 quarterback build with Trevor Lawrence yet. So if I'm thinking about creating a portfolio, my next few Trevor Lawrence teams, I probably only want to make them 2 quarterback teams and maybe jump up to 10 wide receivers just to create my uniqueness in my personal portfolio. On the Trevor teams here, I can see I stacked Trevor both times. Let's see if I got any doubles. I know you love your double stacks, Disco.
Oh man, do I ever?
I do not
That's a
have a
good double
double.
stack. Oh, that's
That
fine.
is not a double. Since it's a
Oh
1-1,
no.
that means it's singled both times.
All right. Well, we got one rule when you draft with us, since you are drafting with us, and if you guys are, in the YouTube stream, I see there's a couple of chats. We'll catch up with that. Are you ready to queue up, Mr. Bernie?
But yeah, let's jump in it, and then we'll look at 2 other things real quick while the draft's filling.
Yeah,
Huh?
we'll queue up, let it fill, but let you also get busy with your with more, because like my eyes have opened, and I want this, like, take my money now, because like it's only gonna come back into my pocket. So queue up, Disco Balls, queue up. Please carry on. Proceed. I'm loving this tutorial. Sorry for cutting you off.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. So I'm going to close this. This is kind of one piece. There's 25 things here, and I'm only going to show you 3 of them. Like, there's just too much if we're going to sit here and draft a draft too. So I'm going to hop over, and what I'm now looking at is my opponent's exposure. So this is every single team I drafted against. So you draft against 11 teams each draft.
Oh.
I can see that 31% of my opponents are building 3-6-8-3s.
That is wow.
And when we're talking about uniqueness, what does that say? That's what everyone's doing. That's the primary build. Look how different that is from even the second highest, which is 12%. So if I avoid 3-6-8-3s, or if I do it in a funky way, I'm creating that uniqueness that is important in a tournament that's so top heavy. We can look at, hey, what QBs are people stacking? Different player things. If team structure was here, you could see who's doing elite tight end, elite quarterback, things like that. But like, let's look at your boy Russell Wilson real quick. We could see, okay, so people are stacking Russell Wilson 81% of the drafts. Russell Wilson gets stacked.
Okay.
So a good amount of the drafts, Russell's getting stacked. But who is it with?
Probably Sutton, Pirine,
Sutton.
Javonte Williams, maybe even what's the guy? Tim Patrick, Marvin Mims.
Okay. So in the drafts I participated in, I don't see any Tim Patrick stacks.
Crazy.
Oh, down here, 4.
There we go.
4 teams.
There we go.
Pirine's only 3 teams.
I would do that too. Okay.
So, compared to who I'm drafting against, Russ and Tim Patrick is a way to separate yourself from the rest of the field. And, this is a really small sample size to extrapolate from, but like, as you draft more teams, that grows and it grows and it grows, and it only can show your draft rooms. It doesn't show any rooms you aren't in or anything like that, because that's against the site's terms of service. Now, here's a really interesting thing. Actually, one little thing here. I don't know, where are we at? Okay, we're almost full. So this players, you can see 97%. So that means Tim Patrick is being drafted in 97% of the drafts. It's not going to show anybody that's drafted 100% of the time. But how can you get unique? Let's think of a guy, maybe Michael Wilson seems to be a hot topic person these days, right?
Okay.
Michael Wilson only being drafted in 50% of drafts.
Yeah.
That's a way to get unique if you think he's going to play a role for the Cardinals.
All right. What about what's his name? Dude who played for wide receiver last year for the Patriots, now plays for the Baltimore Ravens. Oh, what's
Aguilar.
his freaking name? Yes, Nelson Aguilar.
In my drafts, he's only been taken in 19% of them. So if you got a big feeling on him, that's a way to separate yourself from the field.
I got a feeling.
All right, let's take a look at a couple other things real quick. So we actually,
this is so cool.
At Spike Week, we have ownership projections. So they have a whole bunch of data and algorithms that go in and factor in ADP with this. Name a player.
Any player.
Yeah, anyone.
All right.
First 3 rounds, guys. That's easier.
First 3 round guys. Okay, let's say Breece Hall since he's on our thumbnail.
All right, so I searched Breece up. You can see what is the combinations with other people drafted in the first 8 rounds. So people draft Michael Pittman with Breece approximately 10% of the time. So if you have Breece Hall and you're looking and you go, ooh, should I draft Michael Pittman or Drake London? Similar-ish players. Well, Michael Pittman's the most drafted guy with him. Let's see what Drake London is. I guess 9%. So you're not saving a whole bunch there. But you can use this tool. So in that top of the draft, those guys are going to be drafted every single draft. But how do you get unique at the top of the draft also with ownership projections like this?
All right. Sorry, I'm just catching on the chat. What was your question?
I was just saying that this is how you can get unique at the top of drafts.
Yeah. So you said there's an overlay that you can use with this information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dang, that's cool.
Okay.
That's super cool. All right, let's get to the draft. Whew. That's a lot. We are going to keep throwing it over to Bernie with his draft tools, especially when he's like, "Oh my God, this is a moment where I got to show you how cool these draft tools are." I know for a fact I'm signing up like tonight, the moment this draft's over. But let's get to why we're all really here. And like we love draft tools. We love getting better with the draft, but we're also here to draft. And we'll catch up with the chat and tell you guys what we're doing here. Just gonna say we got our boy Mark Burns at the 101. Knifey is at the 102. Bernie, you got the 103. That's cool. Our good friend Snowman is at the 105. Jonesy Wan Kenobi at the 109. We got the 110. Do you recognize any other names in the draft?
Well, Mark hangs out and we chat once in a while on Discord too. So that's fun to see that he also is part of your community as well.
I don't think he's a part of our community, but if he wants to be, I'll gladly welcome. You're on the clock.
Yeah.
Ooh, Jamar Chase at the 103. What a value. Okay.
I think I'm going to do Jamar Chase. We'll let it rip.
Yeah. Cooper Kupp over Jamar Chase. Knifey, you are a wild man. Let's catch up on the chat. I'm assuming a hacker 6849. That's one of your guys. He says, get ready to have your mind blown. My mind was blown. You tell no lies, my friend.
So hacker is actually the guy that does all of the hard work and coding and everything, creates all of this stuff.
Thank you.
He is the wizard behind the keyboard.
Thank you. I appreciate your efforts and your draft tools. Thank you. Let's look at what else we got in the chat. Adrian Fita says that advanced stats nerd in me is going bananas. Me too. And the fact that they were able to like format it so perfectly is absolutely incredible. Chris Mars, what's up, buddy? Did you make it in the draft? He said he doesn't draft dead people. About Robert Woods.
No Robert Woods around here.
All right. We're on the clock. All right. So since we're on the topic of getting unique and drafting guys we have no exposure to, I'm gonna do something that I haven't done yet, and I'm gonna draft Amon St. Brown. That's my first share of Amon St. Brown, and I'm reaching, but we're trying to get unique because that's the theme of the day. After that, Adrian Fittis has done. Mark Burns says in the queue. Jonesy says draft starting. Jonesy, I love you, man. You're so freaking awesome, buddy. You're great. Chris Mars says, should I push start faster? Oh, you didn't make it. Adrian Fittis says Disco's in my fave spot. You like the 109? Oh, or 110, sorry. We're back on the clock. All right, another player we don't have a lot of exposure to. I want to get Garrett Wilson or Jalen Waddle, but since we don't have a lot of exposure to Saquon and we anticipate he's going to sit, we're just going to do it because we are thinking outside the box. This is a what would Disco not do draft.
All right, so I have a fun question for you.
What's up?
What do you believe? How many percentage do you project Amon-Ra and Saquon to be on the same team? How many percentage of teams have that?
I would say 13 to 18%.
15%.
Okay. We're there. We're not a computer whiz, but we got a computer up here.
Yeah, we're working in there, right? And so that's some of the things, but like there's other players that he might be paired with more, paired with less. So that's one way that you can really analyze what's going on. It's kind of fun, right?
I see what you did there. I like it. I like it a lot. So theoretically, had I seen this whole, Saquon business coming up, and I was like, okay, I got to make a pick. I got to be unique. Instead of being like, who's a guy I don't have a lot of exposure to, I could also be like, who's a guy or who's stacked up with Amon St. Brown like the least amount of times so I can get super unique as opposed to unique for me, get unique in the overall spectrum of all of drafters fantasy sports.
Yeah, and if you can combine some of those things together too, unique for you and unique for the other players, unique for your roster construction, unique for what build you're trying to do. If you don't hardly ever go elite tight end and you're like, you know what, I'm going to do it this time. This dude fell 8 picks past ADP. I really want to increase my elite tight end. A couple things you can think about.
I thought you were going to say unique New York there for a sec. Thank God you didn't. but yeah, no, that is mind blowing. Sean Wilson said, "Have a good draft, fellas." Sean, I miss you. I'm sad that you're not in here, but I'm also happy because you're not going to snipe me. You tend to snipe me more than Snowman does, and Snowman always freaking snipes me. 1-1 on percentage. Dang says Adrian Fittis. All right, you're on the board. Let's see who you take. You took Mark Andrews. Okay, that's a unique start. And you're currently using that overlay and that tool right now as you draft.
Oh yeah, I have it up.
Okay. Now you did win first place on DraftKings last year.
Yes.
In the
very different format.
Very different?
Yeah. Because there we're looking at a lot of playoff correlations, where in this, it's the cumulative 17-week regular season where playoffs don't matter.
Yeah. So do you recollect and remember where you were when you made that particular draft?
Okay, I know exactly what I was doing. It was a Sunday morning. I was walking the dog when I did that. So I actually didn't use the Spike Week draft hacker to make that specific team because I was walking the dog, and it doesn't work on mobile. It only works in Mozilla Firefox.
Okay. Note to self, download Mozilla Firefox.
Yeah. It's the only thing I have going in Mozilla is my fantasy football.
Was it like an early morning draft? Was it a late night draft? What was it?
So I primarily draft before noon every day. just the way
Really?
my life is balanced. Like if I'm dog walking, I'm usually doing that 6:30, 7 in the morning. So by that point of the year, I was probably doing 2 drafts per dog walk. So
Those are long freaking walks, man.
it's an energetic dog.
What kind of dog do you have?
He is an English Shepherd.
English Shepherd.
So it looks like a border collie, but
Okay.
it's not.
Okay. Okay. I have a black lab. His name is Kobe Bryant, aka Black Mamba. And then I have 2 cattle dogs, both from the same litter, Australian cattle dogs, blue healers, Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa. So, you know, we love dogs here. We did a little fundraiser for a fallen pet that's completely recovered now. So thank you guys all for your support. You guys really helped that dog out. So God bless you all. All right, a guy we don't have a lot of exposure to. I have 0 exposure to Amari Cooper. You've changed me, man. I'm a changed man. I'm inspired.
Yeah, and everything isn't all about getting unique, but like if there's no reason not to have Amari Cooper, wiggle him in there once in a while, right?
Absolutely. I was saying the other night, I have been fading Amari Cooper unnecessarily for too long, for too many years. And he finished as a top 15 wide receiver in PPR format last year, maybe top 20.
Yeah,
I
it
think
was
it's
a good season. It was somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, he was solid. He was solid. And I think he would have continued to have played well and excelled had Deshaun Watson not stepped in for Jacoby Brissett. But Deshaun Watson's a guy who I don't have a lot of exposure to. But so now that I have Amari Cooper, I have a reason to draft him. And it's simply because I want to win money on this draft, not because I support him as a person or condone any of the things he's done. So just putting that out there, Deshaun Watson, shame on you. And shame on the Cleveland Browns and shame on me for wanting to draft him right now. All right. So real question here.
Yeah. Am I going to get Jahmyr Gibbs? Maybe.
Would you get a double stack with David Montgomery later on?
No.
No.
Okay. I would need Montgomery 30 plus picks at past ADP.
Really?
Yeah. All right, let's go, Jahmyr. Welcome to the team. So my team is actually not how I ever intended coming into this room, to be honest with you right now.
Talk about it.
If I was to draw it up, I would not have drawn this up. Just the board fell in a way that this is going to be very different than a lot of the teams I built. I hit a cliff at wide receiver. T. Higgins is kind of the end of my break there, and he went to Mark C before me. I came back around. I would have went Metcalf. He went. You know what? Screw it. I already went quarterback though, so grab Mark Andrews. So this is a really interesting build for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, you get to stack wide. The fact that you got Jamar Chase at the 103 means you can push for wide receiver later on. So I'm very interested to see what you do with the rest of your draft here, how you're going to pivot. But so far, it's a very unique start. I can't say I've ever seen that, and I've done. This is my 69th draft, guys. Awesome.
Very nice.
Best day ever. Best day ever. Knifey Spooney's on the clock. He goes Justin Fields. That's heartbreaking. So I'm very bullish on Justin Fields this season. What's your take on him?
I don't mind him in the 5th.
Okay.
This isn't necessarily the format I would target Fields in the most, but like 5th round pick is cool here.
And are you bullish on DJ Moore? How do you feel about DJ Moore?
Okay, so Chicago? I actually have big DJ Moore takes here.
Okay, I'm listening.
So I said a lot of people are talking shit about DJ Moore and sprinkling FUD all over the place about how Fields isn't going to be able to pass him the ball and all this jazz. Or the run rate over expectation that the Bears had last season. Well, what they're forgetting is the Bears really, really sucked on offense to start the season. They had an extra long weekend after a game against the Patriots, and they went in and changed their whole entire offense to cater to Justin Fields. They came out of the Patriots game and he excelled. So everyone's like, oh, they're going to be run heavy again. What if it's just their coaches want to amplify their best players? Is actually the take. And last year, their best players fit to run a lot. What if this year their best players fit to throw the ball to DJ Moore because he's really fucking good and they just traded for him?
I don't disagree with your take at all. Sorry, I typically wouldn't take Kenneth Walker there, but Jonesy really wanted him, and I saw that he passed on Kenneth Walker. So, in your face, Jonesy, in your face. So, my take is this, right? As a guy who loves the X's and O's when it comes to football, I think everything you said was spot on. The offense was tailored to move the ball based on what they had, right? Currently, what they have is a far improved offensive line, a far improved blocking unit, and a guy who I think is going to be a really good mishmash of both. Hold on, I need to focus on this pick here. Okay, my screen's freezing. Mike Evans. Okay, cool. That's who I wanted. Another guy who I don't have much exposure to. So they have Roschon Johnson. He is such a unique tweener of both being a great runner and a great pass catcher. And I think he's going to come on late. What their great run game is going to create now, especially since they have the improved blocking, is more time in not just, drop back sets, but when they run to set up the pass in that play action, defenses are going to play honest on the run. And you just need one guy to win in a one-on-one battle over the top. And I think DJ Moore has all the ability to beat one-on-one matchup against almost every cornerback in the NFL. So simply on a matchup basis in a schematically built system that's developed around the run, if they run the ball a lot, it's not a bad deal. We saw it with Jalen Hurts last year and AJ Brown. Sure, he didn't throw the ball a hell of a lot, but AJ Brown had some really big plays because defensive teams had to play honest and stack the box. And we can go all in about numbers and schematics. That's kind of my whole deal. This whole analytics department is new to me. My mind is blown. I'm still catching up and reeling from that one. Jonesy One Kenobi says, wasn't passing on Burrow that far from ADP. Fair enough. So yeah, I'm very bullish on Justin Fields and DJ Moore because I also feel that Justin Fields is a far better passer than we got to see, simply because the offense was developed around him running. In Ohio State, he was a really good passer. He's got an arm. He's got some good threats. And early on in these, and by early on, I mean late April after the NFL draft, when the $3 mini and the draft was $2 million, I was very bullish on Chase Claypool. Right now, I'm kind of toning it down. What's your take on Claypool?
Somebody I really respect in the community, best ball community, is in on him and wrote an article, and he was the cover boy, so I'm just taking him. I don't believe in him whatsoever, but I trust that analyst. So
yeah, I love Chase Claypool as the wide receiver too there. And another guy who I think is getting no love at all, especially in the later rounds where he's either going undrafted or pick 20, is Mack Hollins. Mack Hollins you need to put some respect on Mack Hollins' name, not you in particular, but you, the fantasy football community needs to. Mack Hollins had a stellar season last year, and he's going undrafted, and there's no reason for that. No reason.
All right, let's play a game.
All right, I'm listening.
In 2 years, is Mack Hollins playing in the NFL or working at a Piggly Wiggly grocery store?
I'm going to say playing in the NFL because we don't have a Piggly Wiggly in Canada.
Oh, I thought you did.
No Piggly Wiggly up in here.
I was trying to guess Canadian grocery stores.
we got a Loblaws. We got an Independent. We got Farm Boy. Shout out to Farm Boy. We really like Farm Boy, but we
what's
got
the best thing to get at Farm Boy?
everything. Like, name something that you find delicious, you'll find it like gourmet or super fresh at Farm Boy. Farm Boy is the best, the absolute best. And I'm not just saying that because I am the personal trainer for the founder of Farm Boy. I'm not just saying that for that. Weird flex, I know, but like Farm Boy, best. You got to go Farm Boy all the time. Hacker 6849. Can I just call you Hacker?
Yeah,
Arthur Smith loves tight ends. Mac Hollins has that tight end size, and he's the wide receiver too in that room. So since we're on the topic of the Atlanta Falcons, and I like where this is going, how do you feel about Cordell Patterson this season? Is he fall under the category of a dead player that you do not want to draft? Oops, I did it. I drafted Deshaun Watson. I did it.
So Cordell Patterson falls under that's gonna be only an auto draft for me.
Really?
If I was,
I can see it.
Like, if I was desperate, like, I might, but like, there's enough guys that I like that aren't going drafted every time that I'll take, and that is pretty cool, Adrian.
Adrian Fitta says, my first job in history is packing groceries at a Piggly Wiggly. Laugh my ass off. Weird call back. I guess it's not an Ottawa thing. It's an Alberta thing. Alberta is the Texas of Canada. I don't know if you knew that. Since we're just going off of players we typically don't get, I've dug myself into a hole that I can't get out of. It's a okay. Zay Flowers. I hate the pick, but whatever.
Dug yourself into the hole. Wait until you look at my team.
All right.
Should we read it off? Then let's go over to my screen.
All right. Jamar Chase, Jalen Hurts, Mark Andrews, Jahmyr Gibbs, Joe Mixon, Cam Akers, Dallas Goedert. All right, let's pull up your screen.
All right. So I'm over here. I got the Spike Week Draft Hacker enabled. So mine rate kind of looks like yours right now. I have some extra stuff. So I can toggle to some custom team views. So I can pull up, okay, how many guys do I have on what buys? And I can look at different bye weeks. Okay, in week 10, 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 1 tight end. Okay. I split my tight end buys. Yeah, we can all look at that, but this is a little bit more of a consolidated, neat way to look at it. Okay, what's Mark Andrews' schedule? I can see I've correlated Mark Andrews 4 out of 17 weeks, popping up in green. So I have correlation against the Bengals, the Lions, the Bengals again, and the Rams. I can even look at how many game stacks I have a week. So 1 player in each team. I can see it's still pretty early in the draft for game stacks, but I have 1 game stack in these 5 weeks so far. All right. It's time for me to make a pick. I don't know who's up. I'm breaking a tie here. So look at this. 6 is in purple here. So I'll get 6 extra game stacks, 6 extra games of correlation with other players on my roster by taking Zach Charbonnet here. He's in a pretty flat tier. I don't really like any of these guys that much different than others. Javonte Williams, only 1 game stack. We're going to take Zach Charbonnet. So that's analyzing my roster and tell me what these guys do. The next one is what percentage I own of people in this slate. So I have 2% Evan Ingram. Okay, now here's a fun one. So Evan Ingram is projected to be drafted with my quarterback 1, Jalen Hurts, 2% of the time. So if I want to knock out 98% of the teams and go Jalen Hurts, Evan Ingram, I can get super unique. And we can look at all the rest of them in a second. I need a wide receiver. It's like,
yeah, you do. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking you definitely need a wide receiver. All right. Back to my point about Cordell Patterson, because I think he's way too talented to be faded the way he's being faded. He performed well when he was healthy last year. When he was healthy last year, he performed relatively well. Was he like a league winner? By no means. Was he anything close to it? But the reason why I like him is historically Arthur Smith when he was the offensive coordinator in other places, most recently when he was offensive coordinator in Tennessee, we saw a guy of similar size and athleticism and run after the catch ability in AJ Brown. Play that swing, reverse, slot wide receiver role, and also get a couple of handoffs in that veer. Now, am I saying is Cordell Patterson going to break fantasy football? Absolutely not. But I'm saying he's worth a shot in your 19th and 20th round, knowing fully well that he could very well get 2, 3, even 4 big spike week performances simply because he is the third wide receiver there and the second and third running back in Atlanta. So the versatility alone is why I'm very bullish on him, because based on his versatility and his ability to play multiple positions is why I was very bullish on Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill last year. Taysom Hill was okay. We're just okay. We're going to take Evan Ingram. We're not going to reach on David Njoku, especially if Evan Ingram's available. So we'll be smart here. So yeah, I was very bullish on Taysom Hill last year with the last overall pick, simply because he had that versatility role where he played quarterback, running back, tight end, wide receiver, punt blocker, punt tackler, like punt coverage. Like he did it all. So the versatility alone just means that there's more shots on net for potential output. And when there's more shots on net for potential output, you're more inclined to have a spike week or two. So taking your risk at those late rounds is why I'm very bullish on guys who just do it. Okay, we're going David Njoku. We're just going crazy right now.
Do you think you're done at tight end, or are we at another?
No, I'm done.
Nice. So Mark asked a question in the chat about my picking of Beckham. That was simply, it came down to Beckham and Jameson Williams. And with how thin my team is, I just need somebody who's going to theoretically be out there more. I couldn't take on the suspension with Jameson there. No, I don't think Beckham's going to be great, but I already made that bet on Mark Andrews. So I'm basically saying Lamar is going to have a good passing year, and both of those guys are going to exceed. And he correlated really well with my Cincinnati stuff and a couple of my other teams, but I generally think he's trash.
Over under 7.5 games. How many games does Odell Beckham play this year?
Over for sure.
Over? I'm taking the under all day, bud. Even if it went down to 6.5, 5.5, I'm taking the under. I think the you would have been better off with the Jameson Williams suspension, because you're still going to get more games out of Jameson Williams than you are from Odell. I'm just going to take a quick moment to pay the bills. This is like the longest I've taken to shout out drafters. If you guys don't know, we are drafting here on Drafters Fantasy. It is available in Ontario and all other legal betting states and provinces. Drafters, right now we're doing the $3 mini, so I'll just pull this up. First place in this tournament right now gets $30,000. There's $200,000 in total winnings distributed amongst all the top placements. There's also the Drafters 2 million. First place gets $300,000. There's $2 million in total winning. We are doing best ball. Best ball is the most convenient way to draft. You have 20 rounds to fill your roster for depth. Each week, a starting lineup is composed of the following positions: 1 quarterback, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 1 flex. At the end of the week, the best overall performances on your roster will be submitted in your weekly matchup. So no more leaving points on the bench, no more waiver wires, no more trades, none of that garbage. If you sign up today using promo code DiscoDrafts, when you get up to $100 match with your initial deposit, all transactions are done in U.S. currency. So friendly reminder, if you're Canadian and from Ontario, factor that in. But if you win the 30K or the 300K, that also comes back in American. So factor that in. How'd I do there? Crush it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone here should be drafting best ball. So if you aren't, sign up and let's go.
Absolutely.
It's my favorite thing to do with all of my time.
I think I will keep. So I got this group of friends, and I don't think any of them are in the chat right now. Maybe Adrian. Adrian, I saw you in the chat. I got this group of friends that like I grew up with, and none of them have any interest in best ball. They don't even want to like humor it and consider it. Rasheed Rice, my most owned player. Don't want him. So I wish they will do it, but for them, for the sake of our friendship. Why is my shit keep freezing? Russell Wilson. Okay. Yeah, for the sake of the friendship, I will do one redraft league, and it happens to be a 2-player keeper. But other than that, it's too much headache, man. It's way too much headache.
It's not worth it.
No, this is fun. You get to draft it and forget it unless you're winning $30,000. You know about it. So, like, I have a question now. Like,
Yeah.
did a stork deliver it in like a big like bag of cash when you won? Like, did it just automatically like get dropped off by a stork?
Why don't you make your pick, then I'll tell a story about it.
All right, I'm listening. All right.
And actually, while you're making a pick, I'll answer Mark's question. So, Mark, the other platform I primary play on is DraftKings, which is also full PPR. So that pretty translates pretty well for me. I only play a little bit on the half PPR sites. So I love full PPR. So that's one of the reasons I like Drafters so much.
Gotcha. So Mark Burns asked, because Drafters is full PPR, is there major strategy change for you in drafting? Noted.
It's just how I draft all the way, like 90% of the time. So it's not that big of a difference with full PPR for me. So it's cool. I like it. Okay, real quick before my pick, the story. Well, week 17 was really awkward last season. I don't know if you noticed it, but they canceled the game.
Oh, I noticed it.
And
I noticed it big time.
Not very common. So I was sitting in first place, and if all of the point scoring projections ended exactly how they were projected, I was going to win. But if T. Higgins outperformed projections by 1.3 points, I was going to lose. So I had to sit there for 3 or 4 or 5 days before the NFL canceled the game, wondering what the sites were going to do, agonizing. What am I going to do? But also, like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, can this dude just live? And like, can he walk again? Like, that's a little bit more important than me if I drop down to second place and I, cut the amount of money I win in half or something like that. Like, I'm more worried. Like, I don't want to win like blood money here and like have I won all this money because this dude got murdered on an NFL field. Which it wasn't T. Higgins' fault. He got killed on an NFL field. Like, that's not the type of thing I want over my head the rest of my life.
Dang. I lost 2 redraft leagues because of that. I had Jamar Chase in one of them, and I had Stephon Diggs in the other, and I needed 5 or 6 fantasy points from each one of them, and I lost. So, not very happy. Mark Burns says, wow, what a wild outcome. That final weekend was that. Oh, man. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it because he's right. Bernie's right. There's that one aspect where, like, dude almost died, but then there's the other aspect where you're like, well, what the hell's happening with fantasy football? Yeah. So what was your first expenditure? Do you mind if I ask that?
Oh, yeah, I can tell you. I'll tell you how I spent every cent.
Okay. Oh, you spend it all.
Oh yeah, it's all gone.
Okay.
But
okay,
like that's fine for me. So first thing I did, when I saw on Twitter the game was going to be canceled, my wife and I we went out to dinner, which I hadn't planned dinner, so we were going to probably do it anyways. We went to a place called Carrabba's. I don't know if you have that. It's like Italian but super Americanized chain restaurant.
No.
Okay. Well, anyways, here's how
we
much
we got East Side Mario's. Hey, bada boom, bada bing.
No idea what that is. But anyways, so we go out to this restaurant, and like I'm the most frugal person you're ever gonna meet, and that's why I can tell you how I spent every cent. We used a gift card on our celebration dinner that we had, but we did get an appetizer, which went over the amount of gift cards, so I spent $7 on our celebration dinner.
Okay, so how did you spend the other $29,993?
Okay, so I got like $5,000 stashed away to pay taxes. Taxes are gonna be a little bit more than that because I live in a state, but that's all right. I know what's coming up. I put $10,000 towards the mortgage, $10,000 in the stock market, just a mutual fund that's kind of following the S&P, and then $5,000 in a 529 college fund for my kid.
How old's your child?
Like 5 months.
Wow. So you're just a new data.
Yeah. So that 5K though in 18 years when ready for college, like that's going to be a nice amount of money. I mean, my parents gave me $20 when they dropped me off, and I never got any more money from them. So,
you know what? Good for you for investing in not only your house, your future, but your child's future. That's brilliant. Man, I love hearing stories like that, and I can't express how blessed I am that like I'm just a guy who's never really done these big best ball tournaments before, and yet like I got guys like Quasi, and then like you, who's a top 50 best ball drafter in the world here on my stream. So I'm very grateful for you joining us here.
yeah.
I've been having a blast. I am still having a blast. I have no idea who the hell's on my team, but I'm enjoying myself.
Good. Yeah. Well, you do have a Deshaun Watson stack. I don't know if you got a Russell Wilson one yet, but you can tack on Tim Patrick later.
I think Tim Patrick's going earlier and earlier in these drafts. Like he's going around round 15, round 16 based on like nowhere near his ADP, which is absolutely wild to me. I'm not going to reach past, current ADP to get Tim Patrick. Yes, there's rumors, but I mean, I'm not one to bite on rumors and get all over it. I try to be unique and stay away from the rumors. We got more chats here. Mark Burns says deep pockets, short arms. Sounds like. Mark Burke says smart man, make your money work for you. Amen. Yeah, Mark is I hear you. Retirement equals freedom. Mark is round sky for rebound. Sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Mark's the one I'm familiar with from the logos.
Oh, that Mark. Oh, I thought you were talking about Mark C. Bay at the 104. My bad. Yeah, Mark's awesome.
Oh, no worries.
Mark's awesome. I'm just trying to see all the other fellas' drafts here. Now, is there somebody that you think is getting way too much hype that you have no idea why it's happening? Like, who do you think is the most overhyped player right now?
Okay, I'm gonna scroll up on my board and look. I'll tell you. I'll give you a name in a second.
All right. I bet you're going to name it off of my lineup.
No, I don't have one for that. TJ Hawkinson.
I share the same sentiment.
Like he's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't need to pay 4th round price for TJ Hawkinson.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. Now, if Dalvin Cook signs somewhere, where do you see him going? Like what round?
I mean, wait, where do I see him going, or where would I take him?
Where would you take him?
In the Penny Harris Gibson tier.
So where he's currently going?
No, he's going before them.
Well, just before them.
Well, he went at 88, and those guys are going 108 in this draft. I don't know if Jonesy
does your tool show that? Jonesy definitely took him way ahead of that.
So why don't you come back to me a second? I'll pull up Dalvin Cook here on the tool.
All right.
You'll be pretty impressed by this, I think.
I'm stoked.
I think you got to make your pick though. All right, so this is a different tool in the Spike Week premium package. This is our look at player ADPs. So you can basically filter by date, and you can even put another player in here if you wanted, but you got the dates along the line. So on Drafters is our red line here. So we can see when the Drafters tournament opened up, he was going 65.9. And today he's actually at his lowest price yet through all summer on Drafters at 88.9.
Okay, so he was taken right at ADP right now is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Okay. We just took John Mechie there. We got some more chit chats in there. Chris Mars asks, what is risk reward on Dalvin Cook? So I will say risk is you don't draft in June and get him at this broken ADP, or you don't draft him in July. Like the moment Dalvin Cook signs, I project him going top 5 rounds. He's easily going to jump when he signs anywhere. I'm still predicting that he's going to go to Miami. Right now, you're getting him in the 7th, 8th round. Sometimes you see him even falling like early 9th. This value is way too juicy to pass up on. He hasn't skipped a beat. Like he's still run for 1,000 yards 4 years in a row. He's still a dual threat. He still can do it all. The Vikings were simply just gearing up to pay the piper, and that piper is Justin Jefferson and potentially Chris. Sorry, what's his freaking name? What's their quarterback's name? Kirk Cousins. There you go. So I would say that the risk versus reward is like you are risking not drafting him right now, and the reward is if you sign up on Drafters using code Disco Drafts 1 today, you get to draft him at a very juicy value because it's not going to last. Once he signs somewhere, he's going to be either RB1 or RB1A, 1B, regardless. He's going to be elite. And then we got another. Don't say TJ. I just drafted him. LOL drafted him for stack 6, says Marks. That's funny. And then Chris Mars says thoughts on Zeke. What are your thoughts on Zeke? I'll let you take this one. I kind of ranted on Dalvin Cook and hogged it.
Rest in peace. We'll keep it short and sweet.
Wow, he hit him with the Undertaker. That was the tombstone of death right there. Rest in peace. Why do you say rest in peace?
I mean, the only hope you have is he goes to someone who's going to use him in only short yardage, and then maybe he gets 8 touchdowns or something. Like that's your best dream scenario. Is he falls into the end zone 2 times in 1 week. If he falls into the end zone and scores 20 yards on the ground, that's 8 points. I don't want 8 points hitting my lineup. If 8 points is hitting my lineup, I drafted wrong.
I'm just gonna hide my exposure of my Ezekiel Elliott shares because that was a very sound and logical explanation, and I don't disagree with you. There,
I panic picked. Anybody who looks at that Jimmy Garoppolo pick, that is because I was chit chatting, making Zeke jokes.
I apologize.
I wasn't looking.
That was on me. That was on me. I intentionally sabotaged your draft by handing you that question. My bad, dude.
It was not a good draft to start with. Don't you worry. But that does give me 3 quarterback stacks. So I have the Hurts to Goddard. I have Kyler Murray to Rondale, and then I got a Jimmy double.
Yeah, I kind of went like pure naked here. Like I went stack nation with Deshaun Watson. But other than that, I've got like next to no correlation, I don't think. I even got Donovan Peoples-Jones. When the hell did we draft Donovan Peoples-Jones? Oh, that's funny. But
so you're rocking a Deshaun triple now. Nice.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I don't like my draft. I don't hate it either. It's different. It's like what you've done here, and like this is kind of like the trial test for like me taking on not just your theory, but the Spike Week theory and how the whole tool works there. And what is it called again? I feel like calling it a draft tool is like a disservice to what it actually is.
It's like IQ, 2 pieces. Right? Draft IQ is all that ownership, exposure stuff we looked on the website, and then the Mozilla Firefox overlay is called the Draft Hacker.
Okay.
Because Hacker named it after himself. So original.
Okay. I like it. Hacker sounds like a stand-up dude, by the way. Is he from Michigan? Hacker, are you a Laporta supporter? Oh, he said it's the Draft Hacker. Get it right. If you're going to say his name, say it right. The Draft Hacker. Are you a Laporta supporter?
I have no idea where Hacker's from. Not a clue. He could be anywhere in the world.
Wow.
He just does ones and zeros on computers. Wow. I just imagine.
So binary code. Mark says, I like to draft to correlate my quarterback tight ends. Do you think that's important? You take this one.
I I think this is not an analytics based take. This is just off my head. So I think the elite tight ends get correlated with their quarterbacks a lot. I think as we get deeper into the draft, people aren't so considering it. But like you, Disco, you just took CJ Stroud. I don't think a lot of people, and I can look it up here in a second and see, I don't think a lot of people are proactively, intentionally stacking like Stroud and Dalton Schultz. So if you can get that, and then they both, because they're correlated. So if they perform well, it's likely they're both gonna rise up and outplay their ADPs. You can get a huge gain on the field by stacking these low owned or these down in the draft quarterback and tight ends that people aren't considering. Like a Sam Howell and Logan Thomas make me vomit, but it's pretty intelligent for a tournament of these size.
I think we need to see more of you on not just these streams, but like we need to just see more of you in general. You need to explain this the way you've explained it and blessed our channel. Like people need to know about this tool. They need to know about you because like you clearly know what the hell you're doing. You know that you know your shit. And you're always welcome to come back here. We generally appreciate the whole like educational aspect here, because like I'll be honest, I thought I was an advanced fantasy mind because like I got my draft tools, I got my tier guides, I got this, and then you showed up, and I'm now humbled, and now I know I have a lot to do to improve. But if you're not getting 1% better every day, then what the fuck are you doing with your life, right?
Exactly.
So thank you for helping us all improve today is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no problem. So I just grabbed a guy that I like to do this. I like just scroll down a little bit.
Do you want me to pull up your
rounds? No, because I was looking up Cordero Patterson's age to make a joke earlier and we didn't get to it.
33.
Why don't we pull it up after your last pick? But I like to do this in the last few rounds. Scroll down a little bit. If Allen Robinson is going in 100% of these drafts, I don't want him on 1% of my teams. There is no difference between Allen Robinson and somebody who's 20 spots past him in ADP right now. So it's this game theory aspect of, hey, if everyone's going to have Allen Robinson and he's the same bet, he's in the same tier, he has the same likelihood to make my lineup as, say, I'm just going to scroll down at wide receiver and stop. And why don't we just go to your guy, Mac Hollins, you talked about. Mac Hollins and Allen Robinson are the same bet. And if Mac Hollins is getting drafted, let's say 40% of the time, and Allen Robinson is 100%, give me all the Mac Hollins.
So
screw you, Jonesy.
What did Jonesy do?
He took Quez Watkins from me. So rude.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right, let's catch up with the chat. Hacker says, not from MI, but let's go Laporta. Oh, he's a Laporta supporter. We like you, Hacker. We like you. Do you have like a anonymous mask? Do you? Hacker, Mr. 305. Okay, so he's from, what is that?
Miami.
Miami. Okay. I was gonna say Pitbull. It's terrible that Pitbull put that place on the map. Snowman says late tight ends makes easy stacks. It's not that having a stack is difficult, but logistically, everybody and their mother drafted, just to touch up on what Bernie's saying, everybody and their mother drafted a Patrick Mahomes and a Travis Kelce stack when this draft first came out. So what does drafting that stack give you an advantage of in these tournaments moving forward, when literally it's like the most reached stack in fantasy football. How's that making you stand out? It's not.
That is the combination of first 8-round players that we're projecting to be the most together at 39%.
Mm-hmm. See, I don't even know these numbers, but I'm assuming it because I've just done so many of these drafts. So this theory definitely like rocked my world and like blew my mind, and I'm very grateful for it. We'll go Dwayne McBride, and we're done our draft. Crazy. All right. We're not going to do a draft summary here for everybody. There's way too many names to name. So we will look at yours, Bernie, and then we'll finish off with mine. Did you want me to pull up that Cordell Patterson thing yet, or did you pick?
No, just if you just want to throw my screen up, I'm not going to make the Cordell Patterson joke. We're way too past it. Right. I was going to make it a close to dead joke. So, just want to look at the tools so we can see that now I've really correlated my team. I got a bunch of dudes that, like, if I had Deuce Vaughn, he's going to have 7 game stacks. There's other percentages here that show up earlier in the draft. So you can see projected ownership with Jalen Hurts, since he's my QB1. You can see projected ownership with your first round player. Hey, I'm looking at Breece Hall. How many teams do we project him on with Jamar Chase? Like, you have all that information over here from the website is pulling through onto the overlay for you. So you're not switching tabs back and forth. Oh, I wonder if these guys are comboed together. It's just right here for you. We can also see that I've stacked up with Mark Andrews quite well. I got quite a bunch of cross correlation going on. And my number of game stacks by week, I really want to get a lot of gain stacks going every week. There's no like golden number, but the fact that I'm getting 4s and so many 3s means my roster's a lot of cross correlation. And I need to get this player before my clock runs out. Here we go. Jonesy, thank you for making me get out of my comfort zone and getting Olamide as opposed to just taking Quez Watkins again.
All right, so I'm gonna say you blew my mind with like the theory and the approach, and I have no doubt that you know what the hell you're doing. But what the hell did you draft here? What is this draft? On paper, it looks weird, but like I saw the draft that you won with last year, and like that team did not look like a team that would be the winner. Right, because like your wide receivers were elite, but your running backs were like, it just didn't make sense how it worked out, but it worked out because you used your theory. Now it's not going to work all the time. Is this like a volume thing? Like, do you have to get a lot of volume in order to learn how to use these tools, or is it just like the more you draft, the more it benefits you?
I don't really think you need much volume to use the tools, because if you just hover over things, it will just pull them up. Also, like, I have like 7 things showing. There's actually a settings button where if you just want to narrow it on 2 things, like, hey, you want to focus on game stacks and what your percentage ownership of a player is. Like, you can get rid of 5 things and just look at 2. And then, hey, when you get really comfortable with what those 2 things mean, okay, add a third, add more layers. Like, it's fully personal customizable. Like, if you saw different colors, like I had green and blue, you can change it. Hey, if red means I want more of this player, you can show like, hey, people are that you don't ever draft, they show up in red, their percentages. So, hey, that's not a guy I want. Or, hey, it's you can play around with all the different colors and stuff and really customize that Spike Week tool so it fits however you want to draft. I will say though, like, this isn't a normal team I draft. I would have done much better if we were talking strategy, theory, all that stuff here.
Sure you would have. Sure you would have. No, let's go over your draft. Let's go over your draft, and then like I want you to just explain to me the thought process on your draft, and then give yourself an overall grade. Okay, because like I'm like the curious child, right? Who like, why does this exist? Where do babies come from? how do her babies made? Things like that. I will just ask a million questions, especially when I'm trying to like soak up as much information as possible. So we do generally appreciate you taking all this time.
Yeah.
So Jalen Hurts at the quarterback position, Kyler Murray, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jahmyr Gibbs, Joe Mixon, Cam Akers, Zach Charbonnet, Joshua Kelly, Jamar Chase, Odell Beckham Jr., Rondell Moore, Jacoby Myers, KJ Osborne, Marquez Valdez Scantling, Marvin Mims, Hunter Renfro, Michael Williams, Olamide Zacchaeus, Mark Andrews, Dallas Goedert. I like your tight ends. So talk.
Yeah. All right. So Jalen Hurts is typically a 2-quarterback build for me. I got stuck. I needed some correlation. I just threw Jimmy in there real quick. I had 2 Las Vegas pass catchers. If I wasn't streaming, he would not be on the team. Now let's look at the running back room. I feel pretty decent with the players here. I like these players.
Mm-hmm.
When I got to the end, the Jimmy pick should have been another running back. Is where I would like this more. So
okay.
slot
so
in
if you went
one
2,
more running
6,
back.
10, 2. 2, 6,
Yes.
10, 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
But here's what I did with the Joshua Kelly is I feel extremely weak at running back. Like those guys are fine. There's a path it could happen, but like the stars are going to have to align perfectly in the drafters format for that to be worth anything.
Yeah.
And then when I'm looking at the very 19th, 20th round running backs, and even scrolling down a little bit, what running backs are on teams with running backs that go in the first and second round? Josh Kelly on a team with a first and second round running back going at the end. Okay, something happens to Austin Eckler. The contingent value is enormous for Joshua Kelly. Even if, now let's even go, Joshua Kelly has this upside that even if Eckler's fine, what did his offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, do down in Dallas the last couple of years? Pollard and Zeke. Is there an opportunity for a Pollard and Zeke situation with Kelly? Maybe, probably not, but maybe. I really needed a huge upside swing. So that's why Kelly he checked multiple boxes for when you feel thin at running back at the end. Wide receivers is chase and just punts, man.
Yep.
We're just getting guys that like, I got like.
Oh, and week 13 bye week. Oh my God.
I am not a bye week bro. Like drafters, it's important, but I'm definitely not a bye week bro. But so what I really did is I have Chase that's really going to give me upside. I got one rookie in Marvin Mims that can come in and hopefully give me upside towards the end of the year. And then the rest, the rest of the draft, I really just wanted a whole bunch of dudes that would be like 60 to 70 catches, maybe a little bit more here and there. 900 yards maybe, and I'm just hoping that they all just kind of feather in perfectly, because like none of those guys are particularly good, but like if I can use Valdez Scantling score 2 weeks, CJ Osborne score 3 weeks, Jacoby here and there, I'm just hoping I get the right texture of scores through there.
Just because like when I was analyzing your winning lineup last year, I think the first thing I said to you on that Discord chat was the spike weeks must have aligned perfectly at the running back position because like it wasn't a deep running back room. And here you draft like the polar opposite of like a pretty relatively strong running back room with the first 3 picks. And then after that, you had Jamar Chase and friends. Let's catch up on the chat. And then I want your advice on what you see that was good with my team and where you would deem me needing to improve. Jonesy Smiles says, no problem, says anytime. Jonesy's asking, what does the draft tool cost? What's a monthly fee, or is it a monthly fee, or is it a one-time fee?
So you got to have a couple options of how you'd like to subscribe if you're into it. So everything you saw comes together, and all those tools actually work for NFL best ball, MLB baseball, NBA best ball, any sport. It even works for daily contests. So like drafters runs dailies and stuff during the season. 1 weekend only, it works for that kind of stuff. So it is $40 a month or $300 for a year. So you get 4 months off if you buy the whole year.
All right.
And that makes sense, though, right? You're thinking to yourself, well, NFL doesn't run all year. Maybe that's all you're playing. Well, if you want it for MLB, NBA, any of that stuff, all that comes in and all those tools work for it too. And if anybody else is out there that's not in Ontario that plays on the other best ball sites, it does have all these same tools or close tools, depending on the sites, for Underdog and DraftKings as well. And it's all one cost. You get everything.
So wait, hold on. I knew for a fact I was going to get this already, but you're telling me it's got like, what's the prediction rate on its betting props?
So it doesn't do betting props.
Oh, okay. Screw it. I don't want it. No, I'm kidding.
It's a best ball tool only.
So, but you said it could also be utilized for DFS, right?
So like the daily best ball contests.
Daily best ball, not DFS.
Yeah, so like drafters will run like for week 1, they'll have tournaments that are just for week 1. So save a little bit of your bankroll for in-season drafting too. The best ball drafting is never done.
Mark Burns, to touch on your point, says just a note, Spike Week has NBA tools for drafting when we get into that season. He's a Toronto Raptors fan. He said, good stream, guys. Thanks for the insights. I didn't do nothing. I just asked questions that we were all freaking thinking. And like, this cool guy who won a lot of money is here talking on my stream. I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? Do I even fit in? No, I think I get it. I like it. I love the idea of continuously improving. I tell my disco balls in our community, every day we draft together, every day we talk football together, we're improving. And come season, we're going to be, better as a collective, and we're all going to have a better chance. And, I'm happy to see a good guy like you won it. And I want to see a good guy like somebody like Jonesy, or a good guy like Mark Burns or Snowman, like Knifey, like Liam. Like I want to see everybody win. So the fact that we can gain knowledge together in this community is absolutely amazing. So we love the fact that Spike Week let us have you and borrow you here. So thank you, Spike Week. Thank you. Now, I just want to ask you, how do you feel about my team? We went with a 3-5-10-2 build. We went Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, CJ Stroud, Saquon Barkley, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Tyler Algier, and Dwayne McBride. At wide receiver, this isn't even my draft. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Amari Cooper, Mike Evans, Zay Flowers, Donovan Peoples-Jones, DJ Chark, John Mechie, Chase Claypool, Richie James, Josh Reynolds, and then Evan Ingram and David Njoku.
I was really hoping you got Tim Patrick. We were in a talk, and I didn't see when he got taken. I did not take him because I was hoping he'd fall back down to you so you could finish off your Russell. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. Is when I'm thinking about these, okay, did I get a little bit unique here and there? It sounds like you did at the start. Definitely unique compared to your portfolio. You stacked up Deshaun Watson with a triple stack, which is positive in a tournament like this. You got CJ Stroud with at least a single. I know you had Mechie on there. I'm not sure if there was another Texan. And then I thought your running backs were kind of good for this type of tournament. I'm not a Dwayne McBride guy, but that aside, like insert Minnesota Vikings running back, hopefully gets carries. Like that's cool. I think Algier is a player that I want more exposure to. I mean, you were talking a bit about Cordero Patterson. Well, I think all that Cordero Patterson, well, not all of it, but a good portion of that would also go to Algier if something was happened to Bijan. So
all the running back work. Yeah, you're right.
I think Algier showed enough last year that we go, hey, he's going to get work this year regardless. But like in those circumstances where what if something happens to the first round one running back in Bijan? Do I want to have more Algier than other people? I probably do. And you know what? If I'm a little bit overexposed on him, that's fine. And maybe he does nothing. Well, good. Hopefully in one of my teams he's not on wins. But man, if Bijan goes down, gets suspended because he wants to draft, he wants to gamble or whatever, like give me Algier who could go for 1,500 yards and score 10 touchdowns. Not a whole lot of guys back there have that skill set in their back pocket and demonstrated ability last season. Like, I love myself some Damian Harris. He didn't demonstrate that last season. I got to go back a couple years for the Damian Harris I think could be successful. He did it last year as a rookie. There's some value in that.
Yeah. So, and I think as passionate as you are about Tyler Algier, I feel the same way about Elijah Mitchell and Samaje Perine. Those are two guys who, like, I don't care about my exposure. If they're available, I'm taking them. To answer your question, Tim Patrick went at the 16th round, 187. So he's going way ahead of ADP. He was going undrafted like about a month ago, but now he's going 15th, 16th round quite regularly. Snowman, he's one of the guys who says, I have a lot of Tim Patrick. I think I got one share of Tim Patrick. Will we be able to see you again on one of our streams? Because this was a lot of fun. It was a lot of information. And like, I generally want to like thank you not only for like, you know, taking the time for a little guy being one of the top 50 best ball drafters in the world. Yeah. But like also like I want to give you your flowers for not just like the way you display the knowledge, but also like the amount of work it takes for you to diagnose this and give it in a way that it's like digestible for people. Because you know, I have a short attention span and I did not feel any dialysis by analysis whatsoever. So thank you for making it very educational for not just myself, but everybody else who's going to ever watch this video. So that was really cool, man. Thank you. I hope we can have you again. And I
think we could definitely fit one more in this summer. For sure.
Hell yeah.
And you know what? I really appreciate those kind of words because I do teach adults in my day job. So that means I'm doing something right.
You're a teacher?
Sort of. I teach adults about homeowners insurance.
There you go.
Stuff. This is 100% more interesting.
This is super fun. Listen, man, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We genuinely appreciate it. Tune in tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll be drafting in the Drafters $3 mini. It's not quite Friendship Friday yet, but boy, are we getting close to another giveaway. Any last words for the con folks here in Disco Ball Nation?
Have a great day and consider some Spike Week tools if you like what you saw.
Peace.